Parties are supposed to be fun, but every once in a while, somebody has so much fun, someone else has to call 911. On the morning of May 29, 2025, in Victoria, British Columbia, passers-by watched in real time as a group of men approached another male, pulled a dark bag over his head, and forced him into the back of a white van. The vehicle sped away from the high-security civic zone, leaving onlookers with every reason to believe they had just witnessed a brazen, daylight abduction. Within minutes, frantic phone calls began flooding the dispatch lines at the Victoria Police Department. Multiple witnesses dialed 911 to report the daylight kidnapping, prompting an immediate, large-scale mobilization of municipal emergency resources. Dispatchers routed the critical call to on-duty patrol units, active investigative squads, and the heavily armed tactical officers of the Greater Victoria Emergency Response Team. Meanwhile, investigators scrambled to secure local CCTV feeds and analyze real-time dashcam footage provided by cooperative drivers to track the white van's escape route through the city. Within hours of the initial alerts, patrol officers located the vehicle and intercepted the group. As investigators moved in to secure the victim and arrest the captors, they uncovered a surprising reality. The group turned out to be a wedding party, and the entire kidnapping was a staged surprise prank for the groom-to-be. While the participants viewed the stunt as harmless fun, the police department faced a massive, unnecessary drain on vital emergency services. Late on the night of April 21st, 2006, a frantic man dialed 911 in Dearborn Heights, Michigan, convinced that he and his wife were actively dying. He explained to the dispatcher that they had eaten brownies laced with marijuana and were experiencing a severe overdose. But the panic escalated when the caller revealed his identity. He was Edward Sanchez, an active-duty police corporal within the very department he was calling for help. Investigators later discovered that the cannabis used in the baking was not purchased on the street, but had been taken directly from confiscated police evidence. While the couple survived the night without physical injury, the subsequent internal investigation led to Sanchez resigning from the force shortly after. On October 25, 2013, at around 2 in the morning, a group of friends gathered on a rooftop in Koreatown, Los Angeles, for a night of heavy drinking. A casual dare challenged a 20-year-old to squeeze into the building's narrow, 18-inch wide chimney flue. He accepted the challenge, slid in feet first, and his friends watched as his legs slowly disappeared from view. But the laughter ended when he became completely wedged in the tight brick column, unable to move. Instead of calling for emergency services immediately, his friends spent over 5 agonizing hours trying to pull him out themselves. Only after the sun rose over the city did they dial 911. Los Angeles firefighters arrived to perform a complex, difficult rescue, carefully chipping away the heavy masonry to extricate the trapped man. In July 2020, a 38-year-old German citizen traveled to the scenic mountainous region of Neuberg im Muertal, located in the Austrian state of Styria, to celebrate a bachelor party at a remote alpine hut. During the outdoor afternoon festivities, members of the group noticed a small snake moving through the grass, prompting a reckless dare. Local media reports remained divided on whether the man attempted to touch the reptile with his hand or actually lick it with his tongue, but the animal reacted immediately to the sudden intrusion. It struck with rapid speed, biting the man directly on his outstretched tongue. Responding medical officials later identified the wild reptile as a venomous European viper, scientifically known as Vipera berus. a species capable of delivering a dangerous toxin. Within minutes of the attack, the man's tongue swelled severely, rapidly obstructing his airway and presenting an immediate threat of suffocation. Due to the remote elevation, emergency medical personnel navigated the difficult mountain terrain to reach the isolated wooden cabin, administering specialized antivenom just in time to stabilize his breathing. The man survived the encounter after intensive clinical treatment, leaving the celebration cut short by a single impulsive decision. While a venomous bite produces immediate physical trauma, other bachelor party incidents involve delayed internal injuries that only manifest hours after the celebration ends. In November 2010, Patrick Gallagher attended a friend's bachelor party at the Penthouse Club, an adult entertainment venue located in the city of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. During a stage routine, Gallagher lay down on the floor directly beneath a metal stripper pole. According to a civil lawsuit Gallagher later filed against the establishment, a dancer performing her routine on the pole lost her grip and fell from a significant height, landing with forceful impact directly on his lower abdomen. The venue staff did not contact emergency services during the event, and the severity of the trauma remained unrecognized until Gallagher experienced severe pain and admitted himself to a local hospital the following day. Clinical evaluation at the emergency room revealed that the blunt force impact had caused a ruptured bladder, requiring urgent major surgical intervention to repair the organ and prevent life-threatening internal infections. The club's ownership and management contested the claims of negligence in court, illustrating how a night of celebration can devolve into a prolonged legal dispute over liability. In June 2024, a wedding in the heavily forested Downeyville region of Sierra County, California, was interrupted by an uninvited guest. According to reports from Sheriff Mike Fisher, a large black bear wandered onto the property, smashed into a parked vehicle, and ransacked the interior before fleeing into the woods with a piece of luggage. Believing the danger had passed, the wedding party decided to salvage the night, resuming the music and the reception. But as the celebration got back underway, the bear suddenly walked back out of the tree line and returned to the party. The tense encounter was one of dozens of human-bear calls handled by the sheriff's office during an unusually active summer of wildlife conflicts in the Sierra Nevada mountains. On August 16, 2025, Sean Muse celebrated his 69th birthday with a fishing trip off the coast of Cayo Costa, Florida. The group successfully reeled in a 6-foot lemon shark, brought it alongside the boat, and carefully removed the hook. The predator was ready for release, unharmed and free to swim away. But instead of letting the animal slip back into the Gulf, the group decided to pause for a photograph. In a fraction of a second, the animal thrashed, twisting its body and clamping its jaws directly onto Muse's leg. The celebratory mood instantly shattered. As blood pooled on the deck, his friends wrapped a tourniquet around his leg and dialed 911. A medical helicopter rushed to the coordinates, airlifting Muse to a regional trauma center for emergency surgery. He survived the severe bite, but the near-fatal injury was entirely preventable. In July 2010, after staff kicked him out of a local pub for being heavily intoxicated, 36-year-old Michael Newman decided his night was far from over. He scaled the perimeter fence of the Broome Crocodile Park, entering the territory of a massive male saltwater crocodile named Fatso. The predator measured nearly 5 meters, or 16 feet long. Reports later revealed that Newman believed the giant reptile was tame enough to be patted. He walked directly into the enclosure and tried to sit on the animal's back. Fatso immediately snapped, clamping his jaws onto Newman's right leg and tearing his flesh. Somehow, Newman managed to break free from the hold, scramble back over the high fence, and make his way back to the main road to find help. He was hospitalized with severe lacerations, but survived the encounter. On a Saturday night in August 2012, a charter bus named the Flirting Flamingo traveled along Interstate 35 in Blaine, Minnesota. On board, approximately 35 recent high school graduates celebrated their graduation. Among the passengers was 19-year-old Katie Brown. As the bus moved down the highway at high speed, Brown went through one of the vehicle's push-out emergency exit windows, falling directly onto the active lanes of the dark interstate. She hit the pavement, sustaining severe injuries. Yet, not a single passenger on board the Flirting Flamingo dialed 911. Amid the confusion and panic inside the bus, the responsibility of summoning help fell entirely on outsiders. Passing motorists, driving behind the charter bus, witnessed a body suddenly tumbling onto the asphalt and immediately called emergency services. These external witnesses guided state troopers and paramedics to the exact location. Miraculously, despite the high-speed impact and the delayed realization from her peers, Brown survived. The incident stood as a stark example of bystander inaction, where a crowded bus of acquaintances failed to make the single phone call that could save a life. In September 2021, along the coastline of Venice Beach, California, an unidentified woman in her 20s stripped down and ran into the ocean for a late-night skinny dip. Within moments, the strong coastal currents of the Pacific swept her away from the shore, pulling her into the open ocean. Over the course of the next 12 hours, she drifted through the cold waters, eventually floating approximately 3 miles away from the mainland. Throughout the night, she struggled against the low temperature and active swells, maintaining her position on the surface of the water without any flotation aid or assistance. The complete darkness and physical isolation made her situation extreme as she remained suspended in the open sea, separated from any immediate hope of rescue. The following morning, a small recreational vessel operated by Khosrow Koz Khosravani traveled through the same offshore area alongside a group of companions. During their transit, the passengers observed a pod of dolphins swimming near their boat. As the vessel drew closer, one of the companions scanning the water noticed a human hand rising briefly above the waves. Khosravani steered the boat toward the siding, where they discovered the missing swimmer. The woman was severely hypothermic, physically exhausted, and barely able to keep her head above the water after her 12-hour ordeal. While using the onboard radio to contact maritime emergency services, paramedics met the boat upon its arrival at the nearest pier, transferring her to a local hospital where she received medical treatment and ultimately recovered. On the evening of February 19, 2022, a wedding reception in the suburb of Longwood, Florida, took a chaotic and disturbing turn. As the celebration progressed, several of the approximately 50 guests began feeling strange. It started with a sudden wave of nausea and disorientation. Within an hour, multiple attendees were vomiting, while others experienced elevated heart rates and severe anxiety. The atmosphere shifted from a festive gathering to a medical emergency, prompting frantic calls for ambulances. First responders arrived at the venue to find a scene of widespread distress. Paramedics treated patients on site, while several guests were transported to local hospitals for urgent medical evaluation. Initially, both the guests and medical personnel suspected severe food poisoning. But as investigators began interviewing the sickened guests, a far more deliberate cause came to light. Attendees recalled that the food, particularly the meatballs, lasagna, and chocolate-covered strawberries, had a strange taste and odor. Investigators focused their attention on the wedding organizers. Authorities alleged that the bride, Danya Glennie, along with her catering manager, Joycelyn Bryant, had secretly laced the reception food with cannabis. Specifically, sheriff's deputies alleged the dishes were infused with high-potency THC without the knowledge or consent of the attendees. Both women faced serious criminal charges and entered plea agreements, resulting in probation and community service. On the weekend of February 7th and 8th, 2026, a large birthday celebration was underway at a residence in the coastal enclave of Cambria, California. Among the guests gathered at the home were John J. Ruskey and his wife, Kristen Ruskey. At some point during the night, according to later investigative reports, some attendees may have been using recreational psychedelics. The reported presence of these substances would soon play a devastating role. At approximately 4:30 a.m. on Sunday morning, Kristen Ruskey placed a frantic call to 911. Later, Kristen described Jay as experiencing what appeared to be an active, violent seizure, or potentially an extreme, terrifyingly bad psychological reaction to the rumored party substances. The physical distress Jay was exhibiting was interpreted as a severe substance reaction rather than a physical medical emergency. According to responding agency logs, Jay reportedly declined to be transported to a local hospital. The medical crew cleared the scene and departed, leaving the couple in their room. The true lethal nature of the emergency remained completely undetected. Hours later, guests at the home grew concerned when they had not heard from the couple. Upon entering the room, they made a horrifying discovery. Both Jay and Kristen Ruskey were completely unresponsive. A second emergency dispatch brought medics back to the residence, but there was nothing they could do. Both John and Kristen were pronounced dead at the scene. The subsequent investigation quickly shifted away from the rumors of recreational drugs. Sourced findings from the coroner's office later revealed that toxicology tests showed no lethal drug overdoses. Instead, the coroner officially determined that the actual cause of death for both individuals was acute carbon monoxide poisoning. The residence's carbon monoxide detector was either disconnected or completely non-operational. While they debated hospital transport, the quiet accumulation of gas was already proving fatal. On the River Thames in London, 1989, Antonio de Vasconcelos was celebrating his 26th birthday on an overnight cruise. Approximately 130 passengers gathered to drink, talk, and dance to disco music. The vessel moved slowly along the Thames, its passengers enjoying the mild summer night, entirely unaware of the commercial traffic sharing the shipping lane. The Bowbell, a much larger vessel, was navigating the same route downstream. The master of the Bowbell, Douglas Henderson, had consumed 6 pints of lager before boarding his vessel. As both ships approached the central London bridges, a dangerous visual blind spot emerged. At approximately 1:45 a.m., the Bowbell overtook the Marchioness from behind near Southwark Bridge. Inside the pleasure launch, the party was at its peak. The dredger's massive bow struck the stern of the smaller pleasure craft. The force of the impact was devastating. The Bowbell overrode the Marchioness, forcing the wooden passenger vessel onto its side and pushing it directly beneath the dredger's steel hull. Those dancing on the open upper deck were instantly thrown into the cold, fast-flowing currents of the Thames. The massive dredger could not immediately stop or assist the victims, struggling in the swift, dark water. The response from nearby river traffic was immediate. Crews threw lifebuoys, ropes, and cushions into the dark water, pulling freezing survivors onto their decks. Wapping and Waterloo police launches arrived within minutes, coordinating rescue efforts with emergency personnel on land. In total, 79 survivors were pulled from the river, many suffering from hypothermia and shock. The disaster claimed the lives of 51 passengers. The bodies of the victims were recovered from the river over the following days, bringing a tragic end to what had begun as a joyous celebration. Investigations by the Marine Accident Investigation Branch and a public inquiry led by Lord Justice Clark exposed systemic failures in river safety. To prevent future disasters, the Port of London Authority and the Maritime and Coast Guard Agency implemented strict watchkeeping protocols and revised stability standards for passenger vessels. Most celebrations end with a funny story, a memory to share, or a minor mess to clean up. But some end when the laughter stops, the joke is over, and the realization sets in that help is desperately needed.